Okay, yes. This is Kal Kat the Kal Katster. I just got back from a showing of a couple hours ago of the BFG, the Big Friendly Giant, a Roald Dahl movie, a Disney adaptation of a Roald Dahl movie, and he's the guy that did James and the Giant Peach, Fantastic Mr. Fox, the stories, Charlie, Chocolate Factory as well. Yeah, Willy Wonka movie. So he's been around forever, and this is a Disney one where Disney and Spielberg got together and made which is interesting because usually Spielberg is usually DreamWorks, so Spielberg doing a Disney movie is interesting and different. The movie centers on a village in England. They reference Nancy and Ronald Reagan in it, so I'm not sure of when the book takes place. I know it's. I have never read it, so I don't know what went on there with that one. But and I haven't seen the Fox one either, which they turned into another company turned into a cartoon, a sort of an animated thing with Clooney. So I've seen the Chocolate Factory, both versions. This one is different and unusual. I don't know how different it is from the book, so I couldn't say. And so in this version of the story, at one point they reference Nancy and Ronald Reagan for whatever reason, so indicating it's the 80s. The Queen has a daughter. There's a Queen in it, the Queen of England, and although the Queen of England in the 80s is the Queen of England now, it's 30 years ago, and it would have been a son, would have been Charles. But, for the sake of the story, let's say, it was daughter. That comes into effect later. It's not really important whether it's a different universe, apparently. Okay. It opens with this girl in an orphanage named Sophie, who tells the narrator immediately that in the middle of the night during the witching hour, which is to her it's 3 a.m, mysterious things happen and kids get snatched out of windows. She says this and is immediately snatched out of a window by a giant who takes her to giant country. The giant essentially has kidnapped a girl and taken her to giant country, endangering her because there's other giants that are bigger than him that want to eat children. How lovely. What a nice idea for a Disney movie. Bad guys eating children. They don't show that, but in eating children, but they do show some gross outs, including this gross vegetable that has worms in it and stuff. They reference Harry Potter. They got whiz poppers in there. The guy playing the giant is somebody from Harry Potter. It's either It sounded like it was the guy from Ollivander the Wand guy, but it might have actually been the guy from the joke shop instead. I may have that wrong. It's either one of those guys, because he references whiz poppers. It's odd. But in this universe, whiz popper means something else. Yes, it's a fart joke. Oh, spoilers. They have a fizzy drink that fizzes down instead of up. Now, if it was a carbon dioxide drink, it would fizz upward because carbon dioxide is lighter than air. The only thing it could be is helium, which would go down. Well, that still wouldn't make you fart. Anyway, and you fart green, of course. Yes, in a Disney movie, fart jokes. In a Disney movie, the Queen of England farts. Because that's funny. Because, over a year ago, Mark Cards and I were in the park talking about that very thing in front of the 33, that famous club. Saying, it'd be funny is like, Mark Cards is like, what makes it funny is the Queen of England farts. That's funny. It's in this movie. Disney movie. Those guys were out there. Well, this movie was probably in production long before, last year, but that is interesting. So they made the Queen of England fart, but they didn't do it right. They made everybody fart, which is overdoing it. Yeah, there's a fart joke in it. There's a couple of fart jokes in it. And no one actually gets eaten. They just imply it. It's an okay movie, except for the fart jokes. It's a little weird because like the giant guy basically has kidnapped her, and then she gets Stockholm syndrome in a way because then she begins to like him even though he technically kidnapped her and took her out of the orphanage thing and whatever. And the bad guys endanger her, and then somehow they escape, and somehow they're able to go. She convinces him to go off and dream catching with this guy. Who apparently works as a dream catcher, and just kind of like Stephen King a little bit. And he wants to go, and he wants to go and catch dreams, and he takes her along with him, and they catch dreams, including one of hers. And there, spoilers, there's a dream sequence in it. But yeah, there's a well, not a dream sequence, but there's a dream implied in it. Yeah, so it's except for the premise of the main hero guy being an anti-hero, creepy kidnapper giant guy. Yeah, it's an odd idea there. But okay. But the other giants are worse, yeah. And then they want to defeat the other giants eventually, so they form an alliance with the queen at one point. I don't know how they would ever do that, but in this cartoon universe, they can do that because it's in the book. I don't think the farting is in the book, though. I'd have to check. But I'm not going to do a review update after reading the book. There's no point in it. Okay, yeah, we had... it's going to be a pretty brief review, then I don't want to give away too much, but it just came out. There it is. The big friendly giant. He's a slightly shorter giant than the other ones. Whether his species actually works, I don't know. But yeah, so big giant. Yeah, the title doesn't seem to be endearing anybody. They don't know that it's a Roald Dahl book. I'm assuming it's a later one because now they're using acronyms, so it's probably like an early 2000s Roald Dahl book, I would say. I'm going to guess, since they're using acronyms, that it is. And that's kind of an odd idea. Big Friendly Giant would have been a better title. Just because making it that hip is like saying, oh, I'm going to name a movie LOL. Somebody did that, actually. And it's like, okay, the millennials, it's not really about millennials. It's about people in the 80s, roughly. Let's say maybe 87, 88, somewhere in there. Just see what the book was actually. But I don't know whether the movie is actually connected to the book. It may be a completely different universe with just using the characters, the giant and the girl. The book is called the BFG, so maybe that's what it was. At least the modern version is. And yeah, it's the guy from The Fox in that one. So, yeah, it's an odd story. It's got essentially a kidnapper who becomes a good guy. It's really strange. Maybe it was written around the time that all those movies about that came out. I don't know. Where there was like Liam Neeson's going to show up and stop the bad guy, or Forrest Whitaker or something. So yeah, they don't in the movie. I'm just saying that there were a bunch of movies like that about 10 years ago. Anyway, so here we have this odd children's movie. I guess a girl movie. Technically, it's for girls. As for there's some boy elements. I guess mostly for girls. I wouldn't think they'd like the fart jokes though that much. The other giants are mean. They're scary. It might be too intense for very young children. It reminded me of that giant Jack and the Beanstalk movie, in which they called humans human beings there too. Like they would make that mistake. I think he also did the Giant Killer one. Yeah. This is sort of a prequel, or the one before that. So yeah, how would they make that mistake? I mean, phonetically, human beings and beans, their food. How would they even like the sound would be similar? How does that work? Anyways, but it's a cartoon, so why not? I don't know how close it was. There were some previews of the movie and stuff. Then I'll give you the review here. There were some previews. There was a preview of sort of a clip from Secret Life of Pets, but not a preview. There was Monster Trucks. That was one of the previews. There was Pete's Dragon. which could be interesting. They made him furry, which is interesting. Or at least he kind of looks furry. Pete's Dragon, that could be good, or it could be bad. There's no middle ground. It's probably all right. I remember the cartoon. Anyways, and the book. Let's see what else. But it's all going to be like live action with some CG dragon. Yeah. Everybody's going to think Tame Your Dragon. They're just ripping that off. But actually, Tame Your Dragon ripped off Pete's Dragon. Long time, Tame Your Dragon was much later in continuity. But they're going to think this movie, the millennials are going to think this movie's ripping that off. It's not, it's the other way around. And in fact, there's been a lot of dragon stories over the years. So, it's the other way around. I want them to do a Puff the Magic Dragon movie. That'd be awesome. Actually, they should do a remake of the Scooby-Doo movie, too. Anyway, so cast me and I can totally do Shaggy. Zoinks! I'm too old to play Shaggy. I'd have to play his wayward, twisted father. Anyway, but yes, so, look, what was the other, a couple other previews. There was one for, 9 Lives. One where we get Robert De Niro gets turned into a cat. That looks kind of stupid. There was another one, turned into a cat so he can be better off with his family. It's basically that old, I think it's kind of like that old Cosby movie where he becomes Benji or something. Or a dog, the Shaggy Dog. The Shaggy Dog. I don't think that was Bill Cosby. It was some other guy. But there was also a Cosby one where he was a dog. The Shaggy Dog. Yeah, the same idea, just as a cat. Okay. Well, the new generation is not going to know. What else was there? Oh, yeah, the Storks movie. They have another preview of the Storks movie. And you can see it from the other angle, so you can tell what's going on. And, yeah, it looks boring. And a little bit of Ice Age Collision Course, so sort of a clip show, not really a preview, or a clip. There were some other ones. They did not show Beyond the trailer on this one. Yeah, Pete's Dragon was probably the big one. Also, this movie, the BFG it was entertaining. I would say, I would be nice to it and say 3 stars. It's not great. It's not average. It's a little better than average. Stars out of 5. So yeah, it's different. It's maybe I'm being a little too generous to it. I don't know. But guess how many people were in the audience on a Friday on 4th of July weekend here on the 1st of July? Guess how many people were in the audience? Now Independence Day last week did the Independence Day 2 movie, which came out a week before Independence Day weekend for some reason. That was a packed house. And now this is a Disney movie. And guess how many people were there? It was the opposite. It was the opposite. I was one of 5 people in that movie theater. There was nobody else in that theater watching that movie. That's not good. It's on 3 or 4 screens there. And one of 5 people. And I think the problem is that title is just not very good. It's sort of like when they came out with that movie about John Carter of Mars, and they took off of Mars so nobody knew what it was, and they thought it was a rip-off something like He-Man or something, or they didn't know what to make of it. It should have been called John Carter of Mars, and then they would have gotten it. That's what happened here. BFG is going to tank, because if that's any barometer, because nobody's going to know what it is. I mean, yeah, you see the giant and say, okay, that's probably what it means. But you have to say that in the title, I think. Big, friendly giant. Just, okay, it's a big giant. Right. Okay, that's what it is. The BFG movie. Ooh, otherwise you think it's the big frickin' guy, or the big frackin' guy. And then it's like, okay. The big frackin' guy. Anyway, so this has been my review of the big frackin' guy. And Stone Gremlins has not yet posted this movie. They went on to see Tarzan instead. And you can go on Stone Gremlins and watch their Tarzan review if you want. I did not. I went and saw this instead. I haven't seen Tarzan yet. They wanted to see a movie over there on their website. They're not associated with me. I just went over there and looked at it. I haven't watched it yet. They want to see bad movies and review them, so that's what they did. I'm still waiting to see that other one about the crazy fashion show that they liked. The crazy fashion people, Demon something. Haven't seen that yet. So yeah. And Star Trek Beyond's poster doesn't have Star Trek in the title. Star Trek Chimera's poster will not have Star Trek in the title either. It'll say Star Trek fan film later. It'll say Chimera, Star Trek fan film. It'll also say Starship Chimera, tiny print of Starship Chimera, because to let you know it's a science fiction thing. But yeah. So, yeah. September, though. It's not coming out in July. Sorry, guys. It's not ready yet. September. Yeah. Pull it back a little bit. Hiatus is ending, though. Hiatus is over. It's cooling down a little bit.